Hey everybody, Twin Dad here, and welcome back to Magium. It's been a little bit, but that's no problem. And again, I do not know how long this chapter is going to be, so if it's obscenely long, I apologize ahead of time. But let's dive right in. And I've noticed that you guys like to actually watch this, so I'm really surprised about that. Well, surprised you're actually listening to me. And I'm happy about it, so I'm going to continue it until I finish it. And hopefully new chapters will come out in the second book, I think it is, which I don't have. And I think you have to buy it, I'm pretty sure, and if that's the case, then I'll buy it, because I mean it's fun and enjoyable. So here we go. Continue off from the last chapter. Barry, I hear Darren's voice calling out to me. Hey Barry, can you hear me? I wake up with a slight headache and my vision blurry. As I start to see clearer, I notice I am sitting in the middle of a room with stone walls and no windows, with the only visible exit being a metal door which seems to be locked shut. The stones used to build the walls look very old, are full of cracks, and there's moss growing all over them. If I were to guess, I'd say we were being held in a prison cell of some old ruins. I suddenly remember Kate's friend and how she'd left us all unconscious in the middle of the forest. Is she the one that brought us here? I look around to see if everyone's here. Darren is standing right beside me, while Kate and Rose are sitting on the floor on the opposing sides of the room, with their backs leaning against the wall. Hadric is standing near the metal door and knocking lightly on the walls around it, like in an attempt to test their durability. What happened? I asked Darren. Did the Lesathai bring us here? No, it wasn't the Lesathai, Darren says. It was the animals from the forest. They seemed really upset that we trespassed on their sacred magical fairylands. I'll gladly bring you up to speed with everything that happened while you were passed out. But first, can you please shut off that infernal device of yours? It's been beeping ever since I woke up, and it's really starting to get on my nerves. I take out my stat device and see that I received 4 more points while I was unconscious. It must have picked up some energy from the air of yesterday's fight. I will invest them now, thank you. Okay, I have 4, so let's max out reflexes and hearing. Strength and toughness are useless to me because, I mean, if I'm going to get hit by any mages, I'm going to get hit anyway, as you all know. So, I suppose I will go into... I already failed a couple ancient languages checks, so that doesn't matter. I'm going to go into premonition so I can see what happens. Barry, I hear during... Okay, never mind. Continue. Once I'm done with the stat booster, I put it in my back pocket. I put it back in my pocket, and the device stops beeping. Finally, Darren says. At least now, we can get some peace and quiet while we try to think of a way to get out of here. Wait, I tell him. You said that some animals brought us here, but I don't see anyone guarding our cell. Did they come by here while I was still unconscious? Yeah, Darren says. A tiger and a bear came by earlier and started growling at us. At first, I thought the jailers sent their pets here to scare us, but then Kate and Rose started talking to them by making weird animal noises. It turns out that all of the animals and monsters on this continent can speak, but they only use ancient languages. Monsters can't speak in the common tongue because they don't know any better, and the animals aren't allowed to speak it because their spirit fox leader has forbidden its use after the humans started hunting them for food. It also turns out that having a basic understanding of ancient languages is not so uncommon if you were born on this continent. Never mind, I suppose I should have put some in ancient friggin' languages. Never mind all that, I tell Darren. Did they say what they want from us? Yeah, they said we should wait here until their great golden fox arrives, and they apparently kept making jokes about how she would teach us a lesson. So why aren't they guarding us then? What's to stop us from just breaking through the walls and escaping? These, Darren says, as he points at his neck. For the first time, I noticed that we are all wearing green collars around our necks, with strange markings on them. I turn to Kate. Wait, are these? I start to ask her, but she cuts me off. Yes, she answers me. They're the same type of collars that the ancients used on artificial mages at the Beacon of Hope in order to keep their powers under control. The good news is that I know how to turn them off. The bad news is that we need to find the devices that's powering all of these collars before I can use it to deactivate them. These ruins are built by the Lesathai of old, so if they are anything like the beacon, there should be a control room not far from here. But if none of you can cast spells, then why is Hadric still in his dwarf form? Yeah, I was wondering about that too. Hadric says, as I guess the colors don't actually dispel any spell that you cast on yourself before wearing them. They just prevent you from casting any more magic. The first thing I tried when I woke up was to turn into a giant, but this collar won't let me cast any sort of shape-shifting magic. You say that you can't cast any magic, I tell him, but you still have your superhuman strength, right? Aye, Hadric says, grinning. But even with my power, I still can't smash the collar around my neck. These blasted contraptions seem to be near indestructible. Now I was checking to see if the walls are durable as the collars, but it looks like they're just made up of regular stones. I should be able to break through them without any problem. Perfect. Let's not waste any more time here. Wait, I think we should try and talk through things. I wonder. We're deep in the forest, and there's all kinds of animals, and chances are there's more animals than us, and they will know if we escape. But if I talk to them, they might kill us anyway. Well, yeah, we should talk to them. Why not? Wait, I think we should try to talk things through with our leader first. Sounds like a good plan, says Darren with a sarcastic tone. I mean, for all we know, this may well just be some cultural misunderstanding, and they only want to offer us a cup of tea. Darren, you know very well that isn't what I was. Alright everyone, Darren shouts loudly to cover the sound of my voice. It's time for a vote. Barry says we should all stay here and eat cupcakes with the Queen of Magical Fairyland. I say we should be making a run for it now, while there's no one guarding our cell. Whoever also thinks that escaping now would be the best course of action, please raise your hand. All four of them raise their hands simultaneously. Darren and Hadric are both grinning at me, while Kate is looking away, and Rose is smiling apologetically. Sorry, Barry, she says. Well, Darren continues, since we're running a democracy here, I'm afraid that you were 2 votes short of a victory. Barry, it's too bad. The results were pretty close. Hadric, whenever you're ready. Aye, says the dwarf. Blech. Preparing to punch a hole through the wall. Stop, I say, and Hadric interrupts his swing to look at me. Oh, for crying out loud, what is it this time, Darren asks. What if this is all a trap, I say. Don't you find it strange that there isn't even a single guard watching our cell? What if they're baiting us to escape, so they can capture us once again on more severe charges? Right now, the only thing we're guilty of is temporarily trespassing on their territory. Given that we are outsiders and do not know these lands very well, we should have extenuating circumstances. But if we try to escape now, we'll most surely have to fight some of the animals. Like I thought. And we might even be forced to kill some of them. Do we really want to make enemies of an entire race just because of a small misunderstanding? Hadric says thoughtfully, while stroking his beard. The lad does have a point. You can't be serious, Darren tells him. Rose, I continue. Didn't you tell us that the spirit fox of theirs is like some kind of god? Isn't she like crazy strong? Oh yes, Rose says. She is thousands of years old and likely dwarfs the power of most mages from this tournament. So would you choose to make her into our enemy right off the bat, knowing that there might be a small chance to talk things over with her if we just have a little patience? Well, when you put it like that, I suppose I wouldn't, Rose says, smiling. Ha! Take that! Oh, come on, Darren says, exasperated. You were all on my side a few moments ago. What's the matter, Darren? I ask him, with a smirk. Don't you like democracy anymore? Darren frowns at me, but he eventually gives up and decides to drop his stance on the subject. Fine, he says. I see that you've all made up your minds already, so there's no use in dragging this matter on any further. We'll have a talk with this great golden fox and see where we go from here. It doesn't take long for the animal's leader to make her appearance. Her shape is that of a normal fox, but her fur is so bright that it looks like it's almost made of actual gold. The magical aura that emanates from her is rather intimidating, and she also gives off an otherworldly vibe. A similar vibe, in fact, to that of a banshee. Could she originate from the magical plane as well? The fox is being accompanied by a leopard and a bull, one on her left and one on her right, just like 2 bodyguards walking alongside some rich noble. When they all stop in front of our cell, the fox starts speaking to us in the common tongue. Greetings, outsiders, she says. I am Elia, the golden fox, and these are my two trusted lieutenants, Leo the leopard and Taurus the bull. Leo and Taurus, Darren says in a low voice. Name creativity at its best. Shouldn't Leo be a lion's name, though? Hadric asked him. Shh, Shh, Rose tells them, looking frantically at the three animals, to see if any of them heard their banter. The bull seems to have both heard and understood Jaren's jest, and he is now looking straight at him, with a furious look in his eyes. The leopard either didn't hear his remarks, or didn't deem it worthy of a reaction on his part. The fox simply ignores them altogether, and continues her speech, as if nothing had happened. My loyal subjects inform me that you were caught trespassing on our sacred grounds. What do you have to say in your defense? We didn't know that the grounds we were on were sacred. We meant to leave, but we were attacked and left unconscious. Did we? Yeah, we did know, but we didn't leave. We meant to leave, but we were attacked and left unconscious. So you admit to having waged a battle on our sacred grounds? The fox asked me, shocked. That is a much more heinous crime than having simply trespassed on our territory. A crime that is punishable by death. Oh, come on! Wait, what? You'll be given 24 hours to make peace with your gods, and then write your final letters to your families. Your execution will be carried tomorrow, at dawn. Be sure to have everything done by then. Now, wait just 1 second, Darren says. What kind of nonsensical sentence is this? Who sentences someone to death just like that just because they happen to be fighting on your territory? Do you also execute your fawns and cubs if they don't keep off the grass in a park? You would be wise not to address me in such a casual manner, Mage in Armor, Elia says. But to answer your question, the animal kingdom has neither parks nor a rule to keep off the grass in any region of the continent. However, if there was such a rule, and a cub or fawn were to break it, then I assure you I would not hesitate in ordering your execution. Rules are meant to be upheld, both by humans and by animals. The fact that you humans are so lenient with your rules is one of the main reasons why your society is decaying to such a degree. You will hear no more of this. You will have until tomorrow to meditate and reflect upon what you have done. Use this time wisely. With these last words, the golden fox leaves, and her bull companion hurries to follow her. The leopard stays behind for a bit and magically conjures a yellow envelope on the floor in front of him, out of thin air. He then uses one of his front paws to push the envelope under the metal barred door and into our cell. Once he makes sure that he got our attention, he also goes to follow the fox and the bull, without uttering a single word to us. Rose picks up the envelope from the ground and opens it. Inside, there is a small note that appears to be written in the common language. What does it say? Kate asks her. It says, if you reach a corridor that splits into 3 paths, each marked with the symbol of an insect, choose the one marked with a beetle. Hold on, Kate says. Does this mean that the leopard expects us to escape and is giving us directions? So, Barry, Darren says in a particularly loud voice, even though we're all very close to each other, what do you figure we should do next? Do you think we should wait until tomorrow to see if this golden fox has a change of heart? Maybe we should hold another vote to decide our best course of action. What do you say, Barry? Should we hold another vote? His smug grin he has on his face is getting a little irritating. That's enough, Darren, Kate says. None of us could have known what the fox's intentions were beforehand. They still left no guards to watch over us, so no harm was done. In fact, we may even be in a better position than we were before, judging by the contents of the note that Rose is holding in her hands. Aye, Hadric says. We all agreed to hear the fox out before trying to escape. It was a good idea, while it lasted. Having been left with no other alternative than to break out of our cell, we waited for a few minutes to make sure that the fox and her lieutenants were out of hearing range, and Hadric shattered the wall of our prison with his fist. As we step over the rubble and take a good look outside of our cell, we see the corridor we've just entered is completely deserted. If it weren't for a few lit torches here and there, it wouldn't be too far-fetched to assume that this building had been abandoned a long time ago. Our cell seems to have been placed at the far end of the corridor, which means the only way for us to go is left. I don't like this, says Kate, as we walk down the corridor. This is the same direction in which the fox and her followers went. The last thing we want is to run into them while we're escaping. Well, it's not like we're given much of a choice, Hadric says. There was only one way to go after we walk out of our cell. There haven't been any forks in the road since. Whew, thought I had to sneeze for a second. What intrigues me the most is that we haven't passed by a single cell since we got out. Isn't this supposed to be a dungeon of some sort? Where are all the other prisoners? Maybe they only have one cell per corridor, Rose suggests. Forget the prisoners, I say. I'm more worried about the complete lack of guards in this place. Did they seriously think that we couldn't bring down these frail old walls without magic? Hey, Rose, Darren calls out, as he's studying the writing on the wall. Aw, crap! I know where this is going. Can you come over here for a second? Certainly, Rose says, as she heads over to the other side. You can read ancient languages, right? Can you tell me what this says? Rose says, as she looks at the text and furrows her eyebrows. I'm afraid this is a bit too advanced for me. I can tell that this is written in the language used by the Lesify of old, but I cannot understand any of the words. Barry, Darren says. Excuse me. Whew. Didn't that trinket of yours have a stat device, or stat named Ancient Languages? Come over here and see if you can translate this. Oh, level 4, wow. As I approached the glyphs on the wall, I attempted to decipher them, but the words used are too complicated for me to understand at my current level of knowledge. I might stand a better chance if I maxed out my Ancient Languages stat, however. I'm sorry to say, I don't have enough levels in my Ancient Languages stat to understand what it says. So, Darren asked, just level up your stat and see what it says. Isn't that what your device is for? I don't have enough points. I don't have enough available points to bring my... What, seriously? Darren asked. Did you just spend all your points immediately after you get them? Yes, I do. Do you ever consider saving some extra points in case of an emergency? Actually, I probably should do that, really. He sighs. Well, I suppose we won't get anywhere just by standing here and staring at it like a bunch of owls, he says, as he steps away from the wall and starts to walk down the corridor again. We should just get going, and... Darren stops mid-sentence when he realizes that there's someone blocking his path. There's a little girl standing in front of him, with her hands behind her back and a cheerful smile on her face. She is wearing a golden amulet around her neck, a gray tank top shirt, large pants commonly worn by clowns, and no shoes. She is about 4 feet tall, and her long, red hair is almost reaching her waist. Given her height and general appearance, I'd say she is no older than 10. And yet, I am not getting any sort of warning to not hurt her. Isn't she one of the locals? Hello, she tells Darren, still smiling. What the? Darren says. Where did you come from? There, the girl says, while pointing towards a hole in the ceiling. Okay, says Darren. What are you doing down here? We were just doing some training in the room above when we heard you talking below us. My name is Flower. Pleased to meet you. Whoa, hold on. Who's we? Flower seems to be caught off guard by Darren's question. Did I say we? She asked. I'm sorry, I meant to say I. I was doing some training in the room above. No we, just I. Okay, not creepy at all. What do you mean by training, Kate asked her. Oh, lots of stuff, the girl says, but mostly I come here to practice my acrobatic skills. There's all sorts of traps around here, and I try to dodge them while doing fancy backflips, or while I'm running on walls. It's really fun. There are traps in these ruins, Kate asked. Yeah, this place is filled with them. You need to watch your step if you're not from around here. Did you all come here for sightseeing? No. We were captured by the animals, locked up in a cell. Ooh, excuse me. I don't know why, but reading sort of makes me tired, I guess. Ooh, it's not even late out. We're currently looking for the control room so we can turn off these collars around our necks. You wouldn't happen to know where that is, could you? Would you? Control room, Flower asks, and she pauses a little to think. Oh, you mean the room full of levers and buttons? Sure, I know where that is. Follow me. I'll show you the way. As she starts walking down the corridor, Darren says to me in a low voice, Something's not right here. The spell that the organizers cast on us isn't reacting to her in any way. What do you think is causing this? Maybe she's an animal in disguise, which is possible because I guess you can shapeshift into a human. Maybe she's participating in the tournament. Maybe she's a prisoner here too, and the organizers don't know about her. I doubt that. They would probably know. They might just not care. I'm going to go with animal. Maybe she's an animal in disguise. No, that can't be right, Darren says. Do you really think that any of these animals can cast illusion spells? Why not? They can conjure envelopes out of thin air. Unless you're suggesting she's wearing a costume, of course. It doesn't matter who she is, Kate interrupts. She clearly knows this place better than us. And if we were working with the animals, she would have already alerted them to our presence. Either way, there's only one path for us to take at this point. So we really don't have much choice than to go after her. We'll decide later if we should trust her or not. When we catch up to Flower... Excuse me. Woo, baby. We hear her start talking with a much colder tone than before. While she speaks, she's still walking down the corridor, and her back is turned to us. What's wrong with you, Flower? She says in her cold voice. We came to these desolate ruins to train, not to play tour guide. We don't even know who these people are. Relax, Petal. Who is Petal? The girl says, this time in her previous cheerful tone. They seem like nice people. We can't get back to training once we're done showing them around. This shouldn't take long. I'm sorry. Who are you talking to, Kate asks her. Flower. Gets startled by Kate's question and quickly turns around to face her. Did we say that out loud, I ask? I mean me. She asks. I mean me. Me. Not we. Because there's only one of me. Wait, are you implying that there's more than one of you here? Darren asks. Wait. What? No, that's crazy. You're crazy. Then she starts laughing very nervously and unnaturally. Did she just call me crazy? Darren asks us. Suddenly, there's a muffled laughter coming from within the golden amulet that Flower is wearing around her neck. The girl opens up the amulet and starts talking to it. Shut up, Araka. Who is Araka? She says. Now that I can hear the laughter clearer, I realize that the voice inside the amulet is made up of 3 different voices. All women, laughing simultaneously. Once the being inside the amulet realizes that we can hear her clearly, she starts speaking to us. Hey, you there, the voice says. This girl's a banshee. Quick, check her magical aura. Check her magical... Flower panics as she closes the amulet, shutting up the voice. But the harm had already been done. As I analyze her magical aura in detail, I realize that she's in fact a lot more powerful than it seems, and that she's willfully suppressing it in order to make it seem like she's a normal human. But is she an actual banshee? Or another artificial mage like Kate? There's something off about her aura. I can't tell exactly what. It feels almost as if she has 2 distinct magical auras around her. One that gives off an otherworldly vibe, and one that doesn't. It's as if the girl and the banshee that possessed her are somehow coexisting in the same body as 2 separate entities. But that's impossible, isn't it? Wow, that's interesting. Can you imagine walking up to somebody and this little girl goes, Hey, Petal, it's alright. No, it's not alright. No, that's just weird. That'd be like a whole bunch of split personality stuff, and that would just be really freaky, especially in a dark corridor with a little bit of lighting and traps. No. Run while you can. So that's what she's been hiding from us all this time, Darren says. He then turns to the girl. Kid, you're in luck, he says. You don't need to live in fear any longer. Despite my looks, I am just so happen to be an established white mage. I'll rid you of your banshee problem in no time. What? The girl says, shocked. No, you can't. Of course I can, Darren says. Don't worry about the collar. This sword has more than enough enchantments on it to be able to carry a purification ritual, even without me casting any spells. That banshee will be dead before you know it, and you'll be able to live your life as a normal girl again. No, Flower shouts. She's my friend. I won't let you hurt her. Friend? Darren asks the girl as he approaches her. This is even more serious than I thought. I need to get you purified quick. You're not thinking straight anymore. When he gets closer to Flower, one of the stones that he stepped on starts sinking to the floor, and we can hear some other stones moving above our heads. Look out, Flower says, pointing upward, as a large rock detaches itself from the ceiling and descends upon our heads. The girl raises her hand, and with her palm facing the boulder, she shoots a fireball at it, which pulverized the rock in an instant. As we are getting showered with rubble from the destroyed boulder, the walls are now slowly starting to close in on us, with a loud and menacing sound echoing all throughout the corridor. Talk about Darren being, a little jumpy. He jumps to conclusions and wants to purify everything. What a tool bag. Oh no, Flower says. I remember this trap. This isn't good. The walls aren't going to stop until they turn us all into red gooey paste. Gross. She starts looking all around her for a way out, and then her eyes find a hole in the ceiling that she used to get out into our corridor. Okay, I've got an idea, she says. I think I might be able to create an enclosed space here by blowing up the roof on both sides of the corridor. I can then flood the room with water so we can all swim up to that hole in the ceiling. Can you guys swim? Well, I'm dressed from head to toe in heavy armor, so what do you think? Darren asks her. Okay, new plan. I think there was a secret mechanism in the room above to stop the walls from moving. Petal, can you give me a boost? The girl puts both arms alongside her, with her palms facing downward. 2 powerful jets of water start erupting out of her hands, which lift her into the air and right through the hole in the ceiling. What? Darren says. What the heck, Darren says? Didn't she use fire magic just a moment ago? Don't tell me she's already mastered 2 elements by the age of 9. Actually, I think the water is the Banshee's element, I tell Darren. What did you just say, he asked me. Guys, can you hear me? Flower asks us from the room above. She then continues to talk without waiting for an answer. Just wanted to let you know that I found the secret mechanism, but, you see, the thing is, there's more than just one mechanism. I don't really know which of these is the right one, but I'm sure I'll figure it out in good time. Probably. Okay, that's it, Hadric. Hadric says, I'm going to punch through this wall until we get to the other side. What? Kate shouts. No, don't do that. Are you insane? What if that wall is the only thing holding up the ceiling above us? and it will come crashing down upon us once you destroy it. So you'd rather sit here and get squashed between two walls then, Hadric says. You're not seriously thinking that this little goofball up there is going to figure out the complex mechanisms that run this place before the wall reaches us. Guys, Flower says, I don't know if you can hear me, but I just realized that I forgot to tell you one important thing. Whatever you do, don't smash the walls, okay? Good. Now then, let's see. I think I've got this. Aha! Okay, no, that was a light switch. Back to the drawing board. She clearly knows this place more than me, so I'm not going to ignore her and tell Hadric to smash the wall, because we will probably die. Try to convince Hadric to wait a little longer for Flower. Why not? Let's trust people. Hadric, it's too risky. Can you give Flower just a little bit more time? Hadric looks displeased that he isn't getting any kind of support from the group. Well, alright then. Hadric says, if no one likes my idea, then I'll hold off for a while longer. But mark my words, if those walls actually reach us, I'm not going to hold back. After 15 more seconds of waiting, the fall finally starts to slow down, and soon they come to a complete halt. It doesn't take long for Flower to make her appearance again, with a victorious smile on her face. "Ha-ha! I did it," she says, soon after she drops from the hole in the ceiling. But I think I should also tell you the bad news. See, when I was fiddling around with those complex mechanisms upstairs, I may have accidentally activated all the traps in this corridor. You what? Kate asked her. Don't worry, I can still fix this, Flower says. I think I know where the most of the traps are. So long as you follow my instructions, you should be fine. I just need to do a quick test run to make sure that I'm not remembering anything wrong. Convenient. The girl starts sprinting down the corridor and makes a surprisingly long jump, which lands her on a large stone with 2 cracks on either side of it. She then does an elegant pirouette and turns towards us. See, she says. Yeah, she tells us. Everything's under control. As soon as she finishes talking, one of the walls opens up and a large pendulum blade comes swinging out of it, aiming directly for Flower. She rolls out of the way and triggers 2 more traps by accident. There are now a dozen of arrows shooting out of both walls, while sharp spinning blades are coming out of the floor and moving in circles all around her. At first glance, the girl appears to be just clumsily stumbling about while evading the traps out of sheer luck. As I watch her more closely, I realize that even though her movements seem erratic, they all have a way of flowing into one another, which allows her not to waste even a single second between 2 actions. I guess she wasn't kidding when she said she came here to this place to train her acrobatic skills. Hadric shakes his head while she watches the girl jump around, and then he lays flat on the floor, with his ear pressing against the ground, trying to listen for something. Guys, I know this looks bad, Flower tells us as she jumps off the wall and lands on her left hand and then bounces off the floor like a spring. But if I keep going like this, I'll either remember the right path or end up setting off all the traps. So it's a win either way. Yeah, no, this is clearly not getting us anywhere, Hadric says as he stands up. That fox is going to be here any minute. We can't afford to dawdle here while the girl tests all the traps. This corridor is compromised, but I could hear some noise below us. These ruins have subterranean level waiting to be found, and I'm about to create a shortcut to it. Don't you dare, Kate shouts. What's that? Hadric asks with a grin. I'm having trouble hearing you because of all the noise these traps are making. He then punches the ground below us, which cracks all of the stones, sending us falling down, along with all the rubble that used to make up the floor beneath our feet. It was a longer way down than I would have hoped, but fortunately, the surface we landed on was soft enough that we didn't break anything from the fall. Hadric, how could you do something so reckless? Kate shouts. Do you think we're all giants in disguise like you? Do you realize that if this unusually soft surface wasn't here to break our fall, we would have broken all of our bones? I swear, if I still had my ice powers, I would have smacked you so hard in the head that I would have left you in a coma. As Kate talks, I can feel the surface we're on move slowly up and down, and I can hear a continuous low growl somewhere above us. Something's not right here. I'll try to identify it. I look above me and try to see if I can identify the source of the growl. I ended up regretting my decision immediately after taking it. 9 snake-like creatures, each of at least 6 times the size of me, were all staring at me, with their fangs bared and drool falling out of their mouths. All of the 9 snakes were connected to a large body. To the large body we landed on when we fell from the upper level. I've only read about creatures like this in the books before, but even so, there is no mistaking it. What we've all landed on is a hydra. Well, this is quite the interesting continent. because you found a hydra, a dragon. It'd probably be fun, but not fun in real life, I would imagine. Kate and Hadric are still arguing and didn't notice the situation we are in. Darren is the only one now inspecting the slithery and dark screen-scaled covered surface we've landed on, and Rose is looking up at the snakes with a terrified look in her eyes, unable to bring herself to speak. Guys, I tell Hadric and Kate, I really hate to interrupt you, but I think you should have a look at this. I then point upwards and both of them freeze for a moment. Gods have mercy, Hadric says, as he seems unable to avert his eyes from the hideous creatures' heads. Everyone get down from the hydra, Darren shouts, as he takes Rose in his arms and jumps off the monster's body. Now! I slide off the creature's slippery body and land on the stone floor below. We then all distance ourselves from the hydra and arm ourselves, waiting to see what its first move will be. The snakes' heads all roar at the same time, and the monster starts approaching us, slowly, with its long tail swinging continuously from left to right as it walks. One of the snakes takes initiative and lunges for us. Its attack was rather slow, so we all had time to get out of the way, but its impact with the wall left behind us left a big hole in it. Darren wastes no time and uses his sword to cut off the head of the hydra with one swift strike. No, don't do that, I tell him. Why would you do that? The hydra quickly retracts his headless snake body, and all of the other 8 start screaming in pain. Then, in a matter of seconds, the severed head grows back, and all the other heads grow quiet once more. I'm assuming that it grew back either that or it grew back too. What? Darren asked me. You didn't really believe those old legends about hydras growing 2 heads for every single one you cut, right? I fought hydras before, and none of them possessed that kind of ability. Still, the regeneration ability of this one is through the roof. Last time I fought one of these, I had more than enough time to cut off all the heads before they started regenerating. But there's no way that's going to work with this one. With this particular monster. The only way we're killing it is if we can find out where its heart is and stab it. Or if we use fire to prevent it from regenerating. Damnations, Kate says. If only I had my ice magic, I would have easily cut all those heads off simultaneously. Didn't that little girl have fire magic, Darren asks? He then shouts the little girl's name while looking for a hole in the roof. Flower! Hey, Flower! There's no answer. You're wasting your breath, Hadric says. There's no way she can hear you from all the way up here, with the sound of all these traps are making. Yeah, you're probably right, Darren says. As he readies his sword once more and takes a look towards the monster. The hydra has taken a few steps back while Darren was talking, and has just been staying there for a while, hesitating to attack, and must be afraid that it will get one of its heads cut off again. Ooh, hearing check, sweet! I can hear someone's heart pounding very rapidly. Trying to locate the source of the sound, I realize that it isn't coming from one of us, but from the hydra. I start to block out all of the sounds with my mind and focus solely on the loud beating from the monster's heart, in order to pinpoint its exact location. It takes me a few seconds, but in the end I manage to trace the sound back to its origin, the tip of the hydra's tail. So that's where it was hiding its weak point. Well, Hadric says, if it's not going to come to us. He doesn't finish his sentence and rushes straight for the 9-headed creature. The monster attacks the dwarf with 4 of its heads, but he jumps out of their way and manages to place himself below the hydra's body. Hadric then flexes all of his muscles and starts lifting the hydra off the ground, as he roars loudly, and his face turns almost red from the effort. Almost red from the effort, yeah. Before the hydra has time to react, the dwarf sends it crashing into the nearest wall. The creature is now staggering clumsily, trying to get back up. Yeah, sorry for me mumbling a little bit. It's been a while since I've been actually reading. I usually read, if I'm reading a book or the news or something, I'm reading like this, and I don't talk out loud, so I'm a little out of practice. And I think I might be getting a little bit of a cold, so yeah. Sorry about that in advance. Well, yeah, I suppose it's advance. Use this opportunity to rush towards the hydra and cut off its heart. I could do that because I have speed and flexibility. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. I waste no time and rush towards the monster now, while it was still disoriented. Even while staggering, the hydra still hasn't let its guard down. As I approach it, 2 of its heads lunge at me, but I was so fast they missed me by far. Just as the monster's heart is within reach of my dagger, the hydra moves its tail away from me and lifts it high into the air. So the hydra is aware of its own weak spot. I was careless. The monster now has regained its balance and is using all of its heads in an attempt to drive me into a corner. However, at my current speed, dodging all of these slow, overgrown snakes seems like child's play. Boy, what in the blazes do you think you're doing? The dwarf asked me. Hadric, I say, the creature's heart is in the tip of its tail. If you can pull its tail back down here, I'll deal the finishing blow with my dagger. Ooh, now I get it, Hadric says, grinning. Consider it done. The dwarf then jumps behind the hydra, grabs it by the tail, and pulls it down with all of his force. Okay, Barry, the dwarf says as he's struggling to keep hold of the tail. Whenever you're ready. I put all of my speed into this one sprint. I arrived near the tip of the hydra's tail in an instant, stabbing it with all of the force I could muster. The screams of all the snakes' heads as I pierced through the heart were painful to hear, but once I twisted the knife, their howl started to fade, and the whole creature came crashing down on the floor with a loud thump. The hydra now lies dead beside me, but I almost feel like it's still watching me with its lifeless eyes, waiting for me to let my guard down in order to deal one last strike. Barry, you sly. Darren tells me as he walks towards me. You could have told me about the hydra's weak spot, but you wanted to hog all the glory for yourself. Well, how does it feel to have slain your first hydra? You're not going to let this one go to your heart, are you? Of course not, I tell him. I always meant to go on one epic monster slaying quest right after winning this tournament. A minor victory like this changes nothing. Darren grins. You cheeky little... he starts to say, but he gets interrupted by Flower, who is now descending towards us and is using 2 small jets of fire coming out of her feet to slow her fall. Oh gods, I didn't know there was a hydra down here, she says. I would have come sooner, but those traps of shivers kept going and going. She then lands and looks at the monster, surprised, trying to see if it's really dead or just sleeping. Wow, I can't believe you guys actually took down a hydra by yourselves without any magic, she says. Is anyone hurt? Petal knows a bit of healing magic, so we should be able to help if it's nothing too serious. Actually, I could use some healing right now. Hadric says, this wound in my leg is in particular is killing me. We're on it, the girl says, as she approaches the dwarf and puts her hands on the wound. Petal, she asks, and then she pauses for a few moments. The girl's eyes start shining with a bright blue light, and her expression becomes a lot colder. And the warm light starts coming out of her hands, slowly healing Hadric's wound. So, Hadric, while grinning, you must be the banshee inhabiting the girl's body. Petal, is it? The girl looks the dwarf in the eye, changing her cold expression, but she doesn't say anything. She then shifts her gaze back towards his wound and continues to heal it diligently. Not really the talkative sort, are you? Hadric says, still grinning. As the wound heals completely, the girl's eyes turn back to the normal green color, and her warm expression returns as well. She's usually not the silent. Ah, Flower says. I think she's just shy around strangers. Well, I think this farce has gone on long enough, Darren says, as he starts approaching Flower. I really am sorry that I have to ruin this beautiful friendship, but I'm afraid that Banshee has to go. Actually, I don't think that will be possible, I tell him. Oh yeah, Darren says? And why is that? Please enlighten us, oh great Banshee expert. Because the Banshee has already awakened. In fact, I think she has been in the state for a very long time. Impossible. Everyone knows that an awakened Banshee is supposed to look like a genuine monster. Almost nothing should remain of the human host's appearance. Yeah, I've seen a Banshee awaken before, remember? That doesn't, however, change the fact that this Banshee has already awakened. In spite of all that, since she is clearly no longer in a dormant state, why don't you try your purification technique on her, if you don't believe me? Darren says. I was going to do that anyway. What are you doing, Flower asks Darren, as he approaches her, and starts moving his sword Starts moving his sword in the air around her. Flower, it's alright, I tell her. His technique won't work for you or Petal. I guarantee it. Okay, Flower says, with a slight tremor in her voice. Darren waves his sword in the air up for about 15 seconds, trying to get it to light up so he can commence the purification ritual. Darren says, it's not working. Darren says, after finally giving up. Of course it isn't, I tell him. The purification technique can only be used before a Banshee has fully awakened, or if the Banshee never existed in the first place. An awakened Banshee's aura is just too erratic to be able to get a good lock on it, so the technique will simply fail to activate. The only way you can kill a Banshee now is if you also kill the girl along with her. Is that what you want? No, that's not. I don't. Listen to me, the girl shouts at us. Petal is here to stay, whether you like it or not. You don't have to talk to her if you don't want to, and I am here too. And even if I'm not the best guide there is, I'm not the only guide you have. I promised that I'd take you all to the room full of buttons, and I don't intend to fall back on that promise. Are you still willing to follow my lead? Sure, it's not like we have a better alternative at this point. Please tell me what you have at least a vague idea where we're at. Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's go in blind. I agree, Kate says. It doesn't matter how badly the girl remembers the layout of these ruins, it's still better than having no information at all. Hadric sighs. Count me in too, I guess, he says. Last time I tried to take the initiative, we ended up in a Hydra's den, so I don't really have any rights to complain. Rose says, still not having fully recovered her voice after the Hydra incident, I think we should follow Flower as well. Alright then, the girl says, as her face lights up. There we go. Getting a little dark. You're going to regret this. Come, follow me. I know exactly where we're going. She then takes the lead and starts marching like a soldier in front of us, while repeating the saying, Hut, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm starting to regret this already, Darren says, as we all start to follow the girl's footsteps, and leaving the Hydra room behind. After a few minutes of walking, we reach what appears to be an elevator made entirely of stone. Inside it there are several levers, which I assume are used to operate it. Okay, this elevator is going to take us back to the upper level where we came from, the girl says. As we all enter it, I'm going to leave us right here at the end of the corridor. Yeah, so we won't have to worry about any more traps. Now, if only I could remember which one of these levers I need to pull. She starts looking at each lever in turn, with her eyebrows furrowed. Ooh, I can't remember which one's the right one, the girl exclaims after 10 seconds of continuous staring. There's a mumbling sound coming from the amulet that Flower is wearing around her neck. What is it, Araka? The girl asks as she opens the amulet. Hey, Flower, the voice in the amulet says. I remember which of the levers you need to pull in order to get to the upper level. It's the second one from the right. You're not lying to me again, are you? Flower asks, looking at the amulet suspiciously. Oh, no, it's the truth. I swear on my mother. Well, okay then, the girl says, as she pulls the lever. Suddenly, the elevator starts moving, but somewhat unsurprisingly, the direction we are heading in is down instead of up. Whoa, what? You swore, Flower says furiously. You swore on your own mother. I don't have a mother, you twit, Araka tells her, and she starts laughing hysterically. As we descend toward the lower level of the ruins, there are several low, continuous growls audible somewhere below us. I've just had about enough of this, the girl says, as her eyes start to turn blue again, and she starts fiddling with the levers until the elevator stops in its tracks and heads back up. You just had to ruin all the fun like you always do, don't you, Luna? Okay. The voice from the amulet says as the girl's eyes turn green again. Wait, who's a Luna? The girl asks. I asked the girl. Whew! Man, I'm a bag of crap. Is that the Banshee's real name? Never mind that, Hadric says. What I want to know is who the spirit in that amulet is. Who, me, Araka says? Why, I'm the spirit of joy and laughter. This evil girl is keeping me trapped in here and won't let me do my job of spreading happiness all throughout the world. Will you not save me from this villain? Spirit of joy and laughter, eh? Hadric says with his usual grin. So I'm guessing that sinister aura all around you must be because the amulet of this girl is keeping you in then, right? Arrakis asks. Oh no, I just forgot to change it. The sinister aura around her now disappears completely, and it's replaced with one of joy and kindness. See? Now I'm the spirit of joy and laughter, Arrakis says, having changed her voice to resemble that of a sweet little girl. If you don't believe me, you can just ask all the people who've had the honor of meeting me. I always leave them with a smile on their face, of course. I would be a little hard to get them to talk since they're all dead. And now I come to think of it, the expression I usually leave them with is somewhat less of a smile and more of a look of sheer terror. Whoa, but I'm pretty sure that I've carved a few smiles into their necks, of at least some of them. So it should still count, right? Ah. Wow, that's kind of grim. Flower interrupts Araka's speech by closing the amulet, and then she holds out onto it for a few seconds, clenching her fist around it angrily. So, I start to ask her, as the elevator finally reaches the corridor with the traps, is there another Banshee? Is that another Banshee then? Yes, Flower says, a very evil and powerful one. She was trapped in this amulet 20 years ago by the Lesthai, and we've been acting as her jailers ever since. What? You just say 20 years ago? How old are you exactly? Yeah, let's go with that one. Wait, did you just say 20 years ago? How old are you exactly? I'll be turning 30 next month, the girl says, smiling. Hey, look, we've reached the main corridor. Follow me. The room with the button shouldn't be much further. You know, I'm not exactly sure how to tell you this, but you don't really look 30 years old. I tell Flower as we start moving towards the corridor. Excuse me. Oh, my body stopped aging 20 years ago after my soul fused with Petal's. Petal keeps nagging me that I technically never made it to age 10. But I say, to hell with that. If I want to have my birthdays, then nothing is going to... Oh my gods. What? Kate asks her. What happened? I remember those 3 corridors, she says as she points in front of her. One of them leads to the control room, while the other 2 lead to deadly traps. I know for certain that the correct corridor has some sort of an insect marked on one of its walls. We're practically already there. Come on. An insect? Kate asks, as Flower rushes ahead of us to have a better look at the walls of the 3 corridors. I know where this is going, Mr. Beetle! No, the girl yells as we reach the place where the path splits into 3 directions. Looking at the markings on the 3 walls, I start to understand the source of the girl's frustration. She was not mistaken when she remembered that the correct corridor had an insect marked on it. What she failed to remember, however, was the other 2 corridors had insects marked on them as well. Wait a minute, Kate says. Didn't that note from the leopard say something about 3 corridors with insects marked on them? I see a dragonfly, a beetle, and a wasp. Excuse me. The leopard told us the path with the beetle is the correct one. Leopard? Flower asks. You mean Leo the leopard? Yes, Kate asks her. Do you know him? Yeah, I know him, but I don't understand why he'd help you. He really hates humans. You might think it's a trap. You might... Blah! Crap! You think it might be a trap then, Kate asks. Holy crap, I suck. I don't know, the girl says. Ooh, if I could only remember which way is the right one. Well, we might as well take the beetle. Let's see what happens. And because wasps are nasty and I hate wasps. They scare me to death. I don't think the leopard would have chosen such a roundabout way of having us killed when he could have simply told the fox we were planning to escape and have her execute us instead. I say we go with the corridor marked with the beetle. If we trigger any traps, we get out of there as soon as possible. I'll be honest here, Darren says. I don't think we have enough information to arrive at any conclusion, so it's going to be a guessing game either way. I'd rather go with Barry's instincts, because then if he's wrong, I can blame it all on him afterwards. Yeah, that's nice. Once everyone agreed to have me carry the blame for our potential failure, we all started walking down the corridor marked with the beetle. After a few minutes of walking through the corridor, we finally start to see some light at the end of the tunnel. This is it, Flower says, excited, as she points towards the exit. I remember this part. Once we're past the door, nothing will stand between us and the control room. I told you we'd make it there safely. Come on, follow me! Continue. Flower rushes out of the tunnel, but her momentum fades immediately after she enters the control room, and she stops right in front of the corridor's exit. As I reach the end of the corridor myself, it takes a few moments for my eyes to adjust to the really bright light in the room. Congratulations, I hear a familiar voice say to us. While my vision is still a little blurry, you've made it into the control room. Now you can all die in peace, knowing that you have achieved your goal. I suddenly realized that we're all in the light where all the light was coming from. The spirit fox is standing right before us, and her insanely strong magical aura is shining so brightly that it's hard to even look at her. Leo, the leopard, is also at her side, but the bull appears to be missing this time around. The room is filled with levers and buttons of all shapes and sizes, just like Flower said, and there are strange writing on all the walls. Once I learned that you escaped from the dungeon, the fox says, I knew there was only one place where you could be heading, so instead of chasing you down, I decided to simply wait for you here. Suddenly, a golden cage pops out of nowhere and surrounds every one of us except Flower. It seems that my benevolence was wasted on the likes of you, the fox says. I'm going to execute you here, now, and be done with it, once and for all. The magical power coming for her is like nothing I've ever witnessed before. I haven't even felt so much pressure when I was in the presence of Azarius. The hopelessness I'm feeling right now can only be compared with the feeling I got when we first met Eden. Are we all just going to die like this, without even getting a chance to offer the slightest amount of resistance? Ilya, wait, the girl says, as she puts herself between us and the spirit fox. You can't hurt them. They're not bad people. Do not stand in my way, Flower, the fox says. These people broke our sacred rules, and they must be punished. Yeah, but you can't, give them a slap on the wrist or something? I'm not going to have you question our methods or our punishments, little girl. You may have helped us in the past, but if you insist on defending these criminals, I will not hesitate to execute you along with them. Ooh, you're always so stubborn, the girl says, as her eyes turn a bright red, and her magical aura starts to radiate strongly from her body. Fine. If you want to fight, I'll give you your fight. Get ready, Petal. Cool. Please stop, the leopard says, in the common language, and Flower's eyes start to slowly go back to the normal green color. What is the meaning of this, Leo? The fox asks him. I only gave you permission to use this common language in case of emergency. I am sorry if I am speaking out of turn, O great golden fox, but I consider this to be an emergency of the utmost importance. Explain yourself. I would like to invoke the 6th golden rule and take personal custody of these prisoners. To what end? I believe they would be of much greater use to us alive rather than dead. We cannot afford to send any more of our troops to the ogre stronghold. At this rate, the sacred chalice will be lost forever. But these warriors have proven their combat prowess when they defeated our hydra pet from the subterranean level. We could send them to retrieve the chalice in exchange for their freedom. I see, the fox says. So this is why you insisted on accompanying me to this control room when we learned that the prisoners escaped. You surprised me, Leo. Of all the animals in our kingdom, you are by far the one who hates humans the most. I never thought I'd see the day when you would suggest using any of them to further our cause. She pauses for a bit to ponder on his words. Very well then, the fox says. In full accordance with the 6th golden rule, I thought there was only one golden rule. Do unto others as you want to be done to yourself, or something like that. I hereby grant you full custody of these 5 prisoners. Ilya turns to us. You are lucky to have been spared in such a way, humans. She says, I suggest you make the most of this opportunity. I know, yeah, Sacred Chalice. Could you tell us more about the Sacred Chalice that we were meant to retrieve? The Sacred Chalice is an artifact that can give water unique healing properties, Ilya says. We use this water to cure certain diseases that are specific to animals and are incurable through the use of spells. These diseases have claimed many lives of my subjects since the ogre stole our chalice and hid it in their stronghold. We will get our collars temporarily deactivated once we get into the ogre stronghold, Kate asks. I've seen collars like this before, and I know for a fact that they can be activated and deactivated at will without having to remove them. I'm afraid that the collars we use are more primitive versions than the ones you know of, the fox says. Their effects will not go away unless we remove them completely. I'm not going to have them removed until you retrieve the golden chalice. I will give you a time limit of 5 days to complete your quest. This should give you more than enough time to get the task done. If you are not back within 5 days, I will assume that you've abandoned your quest, and I will use these collars to have you killed by electrocution. 5 days, Hadric asks? What if we get lost on our way there? You won't, the fox says, because I'm sending a guide with you to show you the way. Continue. She then turns to Flower. Flower, since you are so eager to protect these humans with your life, I'm assigning this task to you. I don't really think they'd still want me as their guide after all that's happened in these ruins. Couldn't you maybe send Leo, or... No, I am sending you. Consider this your punishment for confronting me earlier. Of course, I'm not forcing you to go. If you do not want to take this task, I will simply execute them right now and spare you the trouble. Well, that's not much of a choice. Man, that fox is skid. No, Flower shouts. No, don't do that. Okay, I'll get it done. I'll go with them to the ogre stronghold. Very well then, the fox says, as she turns to leave. Leo, I leave you in charge of giving them their mission briefing. I have some other business to attend to. So, Flower says to us as the fox leaves the room. I guess we'll be traveling together for a while longer. She then starts laughing nervously and unnaturally again. Oh boy. Even without using my premonition stat, there's one thing that I'm definitely sure of. This is going to be one hell of a trip. Next chapter! Woo! I do not know how long it was. I think it was like an hour-ish. I think. Or maybe a little bit more than an hour. I have no idea. So it's safe to assume that all the rest of the chapters are going to be probably that long, I would imagine. So, that was fun. I really enjoyed it. We have a new partner yet again, and she is awesome. Fire mage and water mage, or banshee, or whatever you want to call it. But actually, it seemed pretty fun. And I hope you guys are all thinking of this in your mind, because I'm really enjoying it. And my imagination... Not saying I'm good or anything. I could picture all this in my head. I can like picture them fighting while I'm reading it, and it's really fun. And I hope you are too. And I hope you enjoy listening to me ramble on about stupidity, because I can barely talk. I'm not like an English major or very eloquent. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will put the I will put the link to the game that I am playing right now on the comments below. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.